Hello, I want you to look at this room. On one side, order, logic, knowledge, the world of the known. On the other, chaos, intuition, creation, the world of the unknown. You have been taught your entire life to live on one side of this room, the orderly side. You have been told that this is where success, intelligence, and achievement reside. But today, I will tell you a profound and liberating truth. Your brain is not designed to live on one side. It is designed to dance between the two. And there is a secret, a power, a spectacular ability that your brain possesses which can only be unlocked when you have the courage to step into the chaos. There is something your brain can do if you only let it. This is not a metaphor, this is a neurological reality. You have within you, at this very moment, a hidden mode of thinking, a second mind, that you have been trained since childhood to ignore, to suppress, and even to fear. It is the source of every great work of art, every scientific breakthrough, and every truly original idea in human history, and you are letting it lie dormant. Before I show you how to awaken this second mind, you must first be willing to question everything you have been taught about what it means to think. You must be willing to believe that your moments of laziness, of daydreaming, of unfocus are not a weakness. They are, in fact, the key to your genius. So let us begin by taking stock of our training. In the comments section below, I want you to tell me, what was the one activity you were told off for the most as a child? Was it for daydreaming in class, for doodling in your notebooks, for taking things apart to see how they worked? Your answer will reveal the first time you were taught to fear your own mind. Now, before we awaken this sleeping giant within you, I must ask you to join a cause that is of the utmost importance. We are building a global community of individuals dedicated to exploring the full potential of the human mind. A fellowship that understands that we have more than one way of thinking. We are champions of the whole mind. If you feel a stirring of recognition, if this idea of a second mind resonates with you, then I invite you to hit that subscribe button right now. It is a simple gesture, but it is an act of allegiance. It is a declaration that you are ready to explore the uncharted territories of your own consciousness. Your subscription helps this message find others who are ready to awaken. I thank you for your partnership in this grand exploration. Let us now diagnose the condition that has kept your second mind in a state of hibernation. The problem is what I call the tyranny of the librarian. Imagine your brain has two powerful employees. The first is the librarian. He is meticulous, logical, and focused. He loves order. He works with the information that is already in the library. He can find any fact, follow any set of instructions, and execute any known procedure with flawless precision. He is a master of the known world. Your entire schooling from your first day to your last was a training program for the librarian. You were taught to sit still, to focus, to memorize, to analyze, to follow the rules. You were rewarded for having a tidy, efficient librarian. But there is a second employee, and you have been taught to lock him in the basement. He is the dreamer. The dreamer is a wild, chaotic artist. He does not care for rules or logic. He does not see the individual books in the library. He sees the patterns in the dust motes dancing in the sunbeams between the shelves. He does not walk on the paved paths of logic. He wanders through the forest of intuition. He connects the unconnected. He whispers absurdities. He is the source of all novelty, all originality, all true creation. You have been taught that the dreamer is your enemy. When he appears, you call him distraction. When he speaks, you call it daydreaming. When he wants to play, you call it procrastination. You have been trained to drug him with caffeine, to shout him down with focus, to chain him to the desk of the librarian. And so, your mind, which was designed to be a beautiful, chaotic, creative dance between these two partners, has become a sterile, orderly, and deeply uncreative library. You have a genius locked in your basement, and you are wondering why you have no new ideas. This is not just a story, this is a neurological fact. Modern scientists have given these two employees different names. They call the librarian state the focused mode. When you are in this mode, your prefrontal cortex is highly active. You are using your working memory to concentrate on a task. Your thoughts are like a tightly focused pinball, bouncing around on a small familiar set of bumpers. This mode is essential for learning the details of a subject, for solving problems with a known method, and for executing a plan. They call the dreamer's state the diffuse mode. When you are in this mode, your mind is relaxed and wandering. The tight focus of the prefrontal cortex is released, and large-scale networks in your brain, like the default mode network I have spoken of before, become active. Your thoughts are no longer a single pinball on a tight course. They are like 1,000 pinballs spread across the entire machine, bouncing in slow motion, making unexpected connections between bumpers that are far apart. This mode is essential for seeing the big picture, for finding creative solutions, and for having sudden flashes of insight. Now here is the secret that I had to discover for myself through long and often painful experience. Genius is not the quality of one of these modes. Genius is the ability to switch between them intentionally. My life in science has been a constant dance between the librarian and the dreamer. When I was learning the tensor calculus required for general relativity, I had to be in the focused mode. I had to be the librarian, meticulously learning the grammar of this new mathematical language, step by painful step. There was no other way. The hours were long, the work was intense, and it required all my concentration, but the great ideas themselves, the foundational principles of the theory, never ever came to me when I was in that mode. The idea of curved space-time, the principle of equivalence, these were gifts from the dreamer. They came to me when I was walking, when I was sailing, when I was playing my violin. They came when I had let go of the intense focus and allowed my mind to enter the diffuse mode. The librarian could then take that dream, that whisper from the chaos, and translate it into the rigorous language of mathematics. But the librarian could never have created it. I have always said, no problem can be solved from the same level of consciousness that created it. This is the key. The focused mode, the librarian, operates at the level of the problem. The diffuse mode, the dreamer, allows you to ascend to a higher level of consciousness, to see the problem from above, and to find a path that was invisible from the ground. Let me tell you of a specific time this dance saved me. It was perhaps the most frustrating period of my entire scientific life. I was working on the final formulation of the field equations for general relativity. I was so close. I could feel the shape of the answer, but I could not grasp it. I was in a state of pure, agonizing saturation. I was living as the librarian day and night. I had a set of equations that were almost right. They were beautiful, they were elegant, but they violated the law of conservation of energy. They were like a beautiful clock that did not keep the correct time. For months I was trapped. I checked my calculations again and again. I tried every mathematical trick I knew. I was convinced there was a logical error, a mistake that my focused mind could find if I just tried hard enough. My health began to suffer. I was not sleeping. My stomach was in knots. I was in a prison of my own making, a prison of pure focus. One evening, my son, Hans Albert, who was just a small boy, came into my study. He was crying. He had been trying to build a house of cards and it kept falling down. He was frustrated, angry, on the verge of giving up. I looked at his little house of cards and I looked at my mountain of equations and I saw the exact same pattern, the same frustration, the same belief that more effort would solve the problem. In that moment, something in me broke. I put down my pen, I got down on the floor with my son, and for the next hour, we did not try to build a house of cards. We did something else. We started throwing the cards into the air just to watch them fall. We made up stories about the kings and queens on the cards. We laughed. We played. I had, for the first time in months, completely and utterly let go. I had allowed the dreamer to come out of the basement and play with my son. Later that night, as I was drifting off to sleep, not thinking of physics at all, an image appeared in my mind. It was not an equation. It was the image of a flowing river. I saw how the river had to curve around a stone. The stone did not violate the flow of the river. It dictated it, and I suddenly realized my mistake. I had been trying to force my equations to fit a pre-existing idea of energy conservation. I had it backwards. The geometry of space-time itself had to dictate the conservation of energy. The stone dictates the flow. I had been trying to force the river to ignore the stone. I jumped out of bed and ran to my blackboard. The solution, which had been impossible just hours before, was now obvious. I had been trying to solve it with the librarian, but the answer was a poem that only the dreamer could write. Now I will give you the practical protocol for learning to dance between these two modes of your mind. This is how you let your brain do what it was designed to do. I call it the Mind Shift Protocol. It is a daily practice. Step 1. The focused sprint, the librarian's work, 25 minutes. This is your dedicated time for focused work. You will choose one, and only one, important and difficult task. You will set a timer for 25 minutes. During this time, you are the librarian. You are in the focused mode. You eliminate all distractions. Telephone in another room. No other tabs open on your computer. You give this one task your absolute undivided attention. If your mind wanders, you gently bring it back. For 25 minutes, you wrestle with the problem. You do the hard analytical work. You are pulling back the slingshot. Step 2. The mandatory detachment, the dreamer's playground, 10 minutes. When the 25-minute timer goes off, you must stop. Immediately. even if you are in the middle of a sentence. This is the crucial non-negotiable rule. You will now set a timer for 10 minutes. For these 10 minutes, you are forbidden from thinking about the problem. You must detach. You must let go. You must invite the dreamer to play. I recommend you get up and move, walk around the room, look out a window, listen to a piece of music, juggle, doodle on a piece of paper. The activity should be physical or sensory, not intellectual. You are letting go of the slingshot. Step 3. The gentle re-entry. The meeting of minds, 5 minutes. After your 10-minute detachment, you will return to your workspace, but you will not immediately dive back into the problem. For 5 minutes, you will simply sit with it. You can look at your notes, you can reread the problem, but you will not try to solve it. You are creating a space for the librarian and the dreamer to meet. You are asking, in essence, my dear dreamer, did you find anything interesting in the forest while I was away? Often it is in this moment of gentle re-entry that the new idea, the new connection will appear. If it does, capture it. If it does not, do not worry. You have still done the work. You have trained your brain in the art of the mind shift. You can then begin another focused sprint. This cycle, sprint, detach, re-enter, is the fundamental rhythm of creative work. It is the dance of genius. This protocol is not arbitrary. It is a finely tuned machine for leveraging the natural architecture of your brain. Reason number 1, it prevents cognitive exhaustion. The focused mode is incredibly energy intensive. By working in short sprints, you prevent mental burnout. You are working with your brain's natural energy cycles, not against them. This allows you to sustain a high quality of thought for much longer periods. Reason number 2, it forces the handover. The mandatory detachment is the key. By forcing yourself to stop and do something else, you are creating the conditions necessary for the diffuse mode to activate. You are consciously handing the problem from the librarian to the dreamer. This is a skill, and this protocol is how you practice it. Reason number 3, it creates a positive feedback loop. When you have your first small insight during a gentle re-entry, your brain gets a small reward. It learns that this process works. This makes it easier to let go during the next detachment. You begin to trust the dreamer. You stop seeing him as a lazy distraction and start seeing him as your most powerful creative partner. Let me tell you of 3 people who have learned this dance. Story number 1, a musician named Maya. She was composing a difficult piece of music. She was stuck on one transition. She used the mind shift protocol. After a 25-minute focused sprint trying to solve it with music theory, the librarian, she took a 10-minute break to watch the birds outside her window, the dreamer. When she returned, the perfect melody for the transition was in her head. She told me, "The birds sang the answer, but I could only hear them when I stopped listening to my own thoughts." Story number 2, a CEO named David. He was facing a complex business decision. His team had been in a meeting for hours, analyzing spreadsheets, the librarian. They were going in circles. He called a halt to the meeting. He sent everyone outside to walk in a nearby park for 15 minutes, with instructions not to talk about the problem, the dreamer. When they returned, the mood was lighter. A junior employee, who had been silent before, shared a simple observation from the walk that completely reframed the problem and led to the solution. David told me, "We were trying to find the answer in the numbers, but it was waiting for us in the trees." Story number 3, a student named Lee. She was studying for a difficult physics exam. She was using the mind shift protocol. She would study in 25-minute sprints, then take 10-minute breaks to draw in her sketchbook. Her friends thought she was wasting time, but her understanding of the material was deeper than theirs. She told me, "When I am drawing, I am not thinking about the equations. But when I return to the equations, I understand them in a new way. It is as if my pencil is explaining the physics to my brain. I can hear the voice of your well-trained librarian raising his objections." Objection number 1, this is inefficient. I can work for hours without a break. You can, but what is the quality of that work? The mind shift protocol is not about working less. It is about working better. It is about making your hours of work more productive, more creative, and more insightful. It is the difference between a tired, grumpy librarian and a fresh, energized one who is working in partnership with a brilliant artist. Objection number 2, I will lose my train of thought if I stop. Good. The train of thought you are on is likely heading to a dead end. The purpose of the detachment is to derail that train and to allow a new, more interesting train to arrive at the station. You must be willing to lose your old thoughts to make room for new ones. Objection number 3. This feels childish. I am a serious person with serious work to do. This is the voice of the tyranny of the librarian. You have been taught that seriousness is a virtue, but in the realm of creation, it is a vice. The dreamer is a child. He is playful. He is not serious, and he is the source of all your best ideas. You must be willing to be childish if you want to be a genius. As I have often said, you must be a combination of a poet and a plumber. So, I am asking you to stage a revolution in your own mind, to break down the door to the basement, and to let the dreamer out to dance with the librarian. Here is my challenge to you, the Two Minds Challenge. Here are your 3 immediate actions. 1. Tomorrow, for your most important work, you will use the Mind Shift protocol. Just 1 cycle. 25 minutes of focus, 10 minutes of detachment, 5 minutes of re-entry. 2. During your 10-minute detachment, you will do something that your inner librarian considers frivolous. You will play. 3. During your 5-minute re-entry, you will listen for the whisper of the dreamer. Stop living on one side of the room. Your brain was designed for the dance. Your genius is not in your focus. It is in the shift. It is in the sacred creative moment when the 2 minds become one. In the comments below, write, "I will dance to accept this challenge," and if this has helped you see your own mind in a new light, subscribe to this channel. Let us build a world where the whole mind is celebrated. Next week, I will tell you the story of my 1,000 failures and what happened next. As I have learned, the greatest mind is not the one that is the most orderly, but the one that is the most flexible. Go now and let the dance begin.